Hi everyone. How are you doing? Did you see that little mishap that almost happened there?
Yeah, so
I was like, clicked on the wrong thing. I was like, oops, no, we don't want to start a countdown again.
yeah, I imagine the two is next to each other. So I was like,
Yeah, they are. And I still think I clicked the right one, but as soon as it started again, I was like, oops, no, don't want to confuse everybody. So how's everybody doing? Just before I do the kind of hello and welcome to our Orshee, I just want to give everybody who's here a hello and welcome as well. So Caroline is the first one in. Hiya, how are you? And Robin. And then we have Jackie Jacaranda. We have Gerald and Patrice, lovely Patrice. We have Jamie. And we have Chris. Hey, fuckers, he says. Always knows how to make a grand entrance, does Chris?
but at least I'm a fucker now, so.
Yeah. There you go. Emma and Scott. Hi, Scott. We've got Richie. Hello, Richie. And Deanne. We've just been talking about you, Deanne, just before we went on, because I've had a delivery today and it's all down to you. Then we have Molamia, how you doing? And Anne, hello Anne. And then we have Tammy Pie, hello Tammy Pie. Kim, the lovely Kim. And Brant, hello Brant, good to see you. And also Raven Song, Dory, we have D, we have Kim, the lovely Kim from Abundant Life Tarot. Nice to see you as well. So yeah, hello and welcome everyone. And it's nice to see people who haven't been able to make it over the last couple of months because of classes and things that I believe have now ended. So yeah, and I'm just really thrilled to be able to have Orshee on my channel today. Now, actually, this isn't the first time you've been on the Hermit's Cave, is it?
Yeah, I planned on checking the date when I was first on, but it was a joint occasion when that was my first live ever. So you can see that once you go and you guest on this one, after that you're gonna do a bunch of lives on your own. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was the come and have a cuppa kind of.
Yeah.
I think I did about 3. And actually, Dan asked me when I was in Glastonbury a couple of weeks ago, he was like, are you going to do come and have a cuppa again? It's because I really enjoyed that. And I was like, yeah, I think because I stopped doing lives the first part of summer, while my mum was ill and stuff, it kind of went out my mind a bit, and I really should do them again. So perhaps next week I'll do a come and have a cuppa. But
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And that was your first live.
Yeah, I was so nervous. I was just sitting here. I wasn't sure how my internet connection is working, and it was much crappier after I watched back. So I felt really bad about that. So It was just, but it was a good first practice run with StreamYard because I had no idea how everything works. And then, I was in the studio, so I could see some part of it. And look at me now, having lives all the time.
Yeah. And we'll come on to that. So, but firstly, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you for contacting me and, giving me the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better by, asking you some questions and things. Firstly, have you got yourself a cuppa?
I mean, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I keep forgetting because I'm nervous, but it's really, fun to be here and talk to you. And I have Pepsi Lime because I'm an official spokesperson, apparently, for Pepsi Lime. So
Pepsi Lime?
Yeah, I don't think you have that in the UK. It's a diet version, and I don't know. I mean, it's not lime taste. It doesn't taste like lime, but for me, that's the most enjoyable.
I think it's just started. I mean, Pepsi Max Cherry is big here.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Pepsi Max Raspberry, and there's a Pepsi Max Vanilla. But at our Pizza Hut, which is literally facing where I live, if I was to
Ooh.
start now, I can see it.
Dangerous.
They have one of those refill, you know, you buy a glass and you take it up and there's like a screen and you can press
Oh yeah.
all different ones and it pours the drinks. And there is a Pepsi Max lime there, and I had it once and I thought, this is really refreshing. Yeah, it's Pepsi Max, and then you choose which flavor syrup to add to it.
It's interesting because here it's just Pepsi Lime. So we have Pepsi Max separately, and we have this for at least 5 years now. And I know that there's in a lot of countries that it's still not sold. I don't know why, because a lot of people love it here. So
yeah. And Scott said, Orshee, you are a natural. The camera loves you, no nerves. So yeah.
Sweet of you to say.
But it's strange, isn't it? Because you know, you just said I'm nervous, but you're quite proficient at lives. You do a lot of live streaming, don't you? What do you think is the nervousness about it?
I don't really know, because I know that I'm talking to people that I like and who I mean, I'm gonna say they like me. You know, I didn't have a lot of trolls. I think there was only one person who was like, you know, Bible verse sort of copy paste messaging. But I kind of feel like that this is a way to connect people that I care about, that I want to know. So I don't think about it as talking to new people or strangers. I'm like, oh, I'm having, you know, friendship talks or whatever. So
yeah,
maybe that's why. And because I talk about things that I care and like, I care about and like. So it's not, if I, you know, would have to make a presentation about something, I would be like, nah, no.
I get you on that. I'm in people development, so I have to do lots of public speaking and presentation. Even this week on a microphone, and I can sit here now really comfortably in my cave broadcasting and streaming. It still doesn't come natural as pre-recorded videos do, but I'm better with it. But put me in front of a microphone and a load of an ocean of faces in front of you, and it's a different matter entirely. So it's our comfort zones. But there's lots of love in the room, lots of people saying you know, hello to you and giving you some love and support. So, and welcome to everybody else who's joined us, because there's double the amount of people.
I'm not gonna try to say hi to everyone individually, so just feel my hi reaching out to you.
All right then. So why don't you start us off just by telling everybody just a little bit about yourself? So who you are, whereabouts in the world you are, and that sort of thing.
Oh God, I always hated this question. You know, when you have to stand up in class and you introduce yourself, and I'm like, can I go home?
At least I haven't added like 2 truths and a lie or anything else. You know, you used to have to do those kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I could lie and you wouldn't have no idea. So, but yeah, so I like saying that because a lot of people get surprised, but I'm almost 40 years old.
Wow.
People always think that I'm getting older, because people think that I'm not just 25 anymore. People like, you're late 20s, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting old. But yeah, I'm almost 40 years old, and I live in Hungary, which is a lovely country, but it's filled with awful people right now. In most often than not, I live with my family, so I have a room. But we live in a big house and big garden, which was a very, very big help in the last years, because we could go outside. You know, I was with family, so I wasn't alone. So I consider myself very lucky. I have a new baby nephew who's 9 months old. So things changed in the last 9 months, and it's just kind of mind-blowing to think that he lived outside of the world as long as he lived, you know, inside her mother. And it just kind of blows my mind, these, you know, numbers and whatever. And as you can see, I love talking, and that was something, you know, surprised me, that I love talking to a camera. I love making videos on YouTube, which I attempted a few years ago. I tried to make a channel, but because I loved talking about TV shows, I watched a lot more because now I watch a lot of YouTube, and I was kind of doing the same, you know, trying to find people that who would talk to me about those shows. But I think the motivation wasn't right, and I was going through a more depressive state, so those videos were not too much fun to watch. Sorry, I talk a lot and my voice goes.
That's okay.
And then when I started making videos about tarot, that was just like, you know, something clicked, and yeah, I enjoy doing that. So,
Yeah.
but if anyone has a question,
Yes,
and
definitely. I've got a little banner I was going to pop up after we got going. So, as always, if you have any questions, please put them in capitals. You can tag me, as in the Hermit's Cave, because I've got my iPad with the comments on as well. So they will highlight, but it has to be exactly, you know, with the apostrophe S and everything. So sometimes it's better just to put it in capitals, then I'll see it. So yeah, any questions that you want me to put to Orshee, I of course will. And I've got my questions as well. So what I did want to ask just about that is living in the family home, but it looks very self-contained. Do you have like separate entrance and all that? Do you feel, even though you're part of connected to a bigger house and family members, do you have your own kind of independence?
not yet. I mean, there are things I'm not going to mention, but currently we're hoping that at some point we can convert the house into flats, and then I will have this area and that will be mine alone. But we have a big one, so
Yeah.
we have at least we have 3 bathrooms, but we use 2, and we have everybody has their own separate you know, bedrooms, and no one, you know, messes my stuff. So I have my alone time, because if I just close the door and I don't know, I say that I want to be alone, people will, you know, my family members will be, but why, what's wrong, what's happening? But but if I say that, hey, I'm in a bad mood and I want to be alone, I can be alone. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I used to go to Scandinavia quite a lot, and they had very similar setups, very large houses. And I used to think, being a British boy, you know, we leave home kind of like teenage years or early 20s, and I remember thinking this is a really strange concept. But when I saw how the house was divided up, you know, it made a lot of sense. Okay, so you said that your first live was on the Hermit's Cave, but you've also been making videos, and you've been through quite a journey and evolution with that, which most of us do. How long exactly have you had a channel, and what would you say your inspiration was for starting a channel?
well, I have it a little more than a year now. I had my first channel anniversary on the 6th of August. And I had a live stream, by the way, with questions. There were a lot of good questions. So if anybody, you know, wants to get to know me even better, then you can rewatch that one. And, you know, at first I was the same. I just started getting decks, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do these walkthroughs, and it's gonna be exciting. And I was doing those, but I wanted to do pick a card readings mostly. And in the early few months, that was most of my content, deck walkthroughs and pick a card readings, which I'm not gonna say I don't enjoy doing them anymore, but I like doing live readings, and I do the weekly pick a cards on Instagram, so I still have them. But what I most had fun with, and I want to do that again this year, I had Halloween related pick a cards last year, which I think were, you know, fun, because there was something like who's your eternal love, and there was an option to choose a ghost, a werewolf, a vampire, and a zombie. And, you know, and I altered the readings into that setting, but it was still an actual reading. So, you know, I think those were fun.
That's cool. Yeah, that
And
sounds really cool.
yeah, sorry, I just said that at first I wanted to do the oh, let's open decks, and because those videos are always popular when you talk about new decks, because everybody loves to share their joy when you're getting something new. But I'm enjoying the conversations I'm getting on the Monday lives that I'm doing, the bi-weekly catch-ups. And I have a series I also do on Monday, and those are well-being readings, which I tailor a reading. I forgot the word. What's the reading you do for a collective reading? That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So I do a reading for the collective that you can use to just work for your mental health or your well-being with those readings. So those are really something that I enjoy doing. So it changed more into the community and serving aspect, I guess, of tarot, which I really like.
Yeah. Fab. And Jackie's just put a link to the channel. But if you, you can't actually click on them there, but that you can click on it in the chat. And if you're watching this back, as in not watching it live, watching it later, if you go to the description below, there is also a link to Orsi's channel in there. So can you tell us a little bit about the name of your channel? Because it's Dragorsi, isn't it?
Dragorsi, yeah.
Dragorsi?
Yeah, because I'm a dragon fan. I just always loved dragons. So the name Dragorsi is dragon. The first part is from dragon, and then I added my name Orshee. So it's dragorsi, as in dragon Orshee.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then also, just to be clear as well, it's Orshee, isn't it? Rather than Orsi.
Yeah, I understand that English speaking people read it as Orsi, so it's not like I'm bothered, but I always explain it as like he or she, and then it's Orshee. So I think that's the easiest way.
Yeah, that's a cool way to think of it, actually. I hadn't thought of it like that. So how did you first encounter the tarot? How did it come into your life, or what's your earliest memory of it?
Wow. So I wasn't exposed to it, I guess. The only time it wasn't even tarot. I think it was gypsy cards, because there was a trend in early 90s that gypsy women in Budapest were just going up to you and tell you something like, I'm gonna tell your future from your palm, and those shady sort of readings when they try to scare you into pay them, so they lift curses and whatnot. I don't know why it's a good thing to do, but it's their business model, not mine. So I don't think I knew what tarot was back then, and certainly not when I was growing up. The first time that I encountered tarot was when I went and did a palmistry reading course. And before we started the reading, which I don't use because I just didn't connect it with the way it was read or taught or whatever. And the lady who was responsible for the course pulled us a tarot card. Unfortunately, I don't remember what the card was, but I remember sitting there even before our course started, thinking, "Damn, I should have gone with the tarot one." and then for I don't even know, for like 10 years, I did nothing. I was sick, so I was busy with stuff like that. But I can't remember why I started looking into the tarot exactly. There are things in your life that once they enter, you just don't remember how it started. You just feel like it was always there. And I'm that like I'm like that with the tarot as well. But I took a course in the end of 2019, just before everything started.
Yeah.
And I find that course, I think, 6 months prior. So around that time, early 2019, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn tarot, and this is gonna be something that I want.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're the sort of person then who's always had like a searching soul or an inquiring mind about the spiritual matters, for you to over 10 years ago kind of look at courses like palmistry and stuff like that. Would you say that that's something that's part of your kind of psyche, as somebody who's a bit of a spiritual explorer?
Well, my origin story started with getting really, really sick when I was 18. And before that, I was atheist. I didn't believe in God, and I still don't believe the Bible version of things, because it doesn't make sense to me. I believe that we have something, bigger than us, because I had enough experience to know that. But I don't think I was. I mean, we were not brought up religious. Our family is supportive and open-minded. If we wanted to be religious, we could have been. My mother had really bad experiences with religion, so she didn't want to do that. But then, like I said, when I was sick, when things start go in the life or death matter, you start thinking about what's going to happen to you when you die and stuff like that. And also, I was looking for something that would give me hope and would give me support in some form. So yeah, I had enough time to lay in hospital beds and whatnot to think about things. And I also experienced a lot just about what it happens to people when they die. I know, I'm sorry if I'm being too melodramatic or whatever, because I was in ER a lot and I saw people die. And I know that this sounds horrible. And at that time, I didn't know that it was really affecting me, because on the upper level, I was just like, okay, I witnessed that they died. But then I later on, I realized that I developed panic attacks because of that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So yeah, that was another fun thing that I got as a bonus. But and also when we were as a family, we were trying to find something that would help me heal, because I was misdiagnosed and treated for, oh my god, is that fire?
Fire.
Like a fire alarm, like, okay, spirit, I'm gonna shut up.
I've had a new, I say new, it's about a month old now, MacBook, and I still haven't worked out how to turn like alerts off. I've got my phone on do not disturb, so that wouldn't allow it to disturb anything else, would you? But yeah, sorry, I was really fascinated actually with your story.
Yeah, so where was I? So yeah, I
so after the attacks and everything, then yeah.
And that we had to try a lot of unconventional treatment as well. So I went to a lot of natural healers, energetic healers, and a lot of things. So I tried a lot, and I know that there's a lot of things that work. So coming out of it, I knew that there is more to life than just your physical body, because I really felt that distinction when I was sick, that my mind, my soul was separate from the body that wasn't able to handle things. So it gave me something, that I wanted to do with this knowledge or with this realization. And I was trying to find a way to give back. And I said it somewhere, I just forgot, but I said it somewhere that one of the reasons why I'm doing free readings is not because I think that I'm not worthy of anybody's money, but because this is my way of giving back, because I can't give back the help, the love, the support that I got when I was sick, because that doesn't work like that. But hopefully I can give it to other people who need it now. So
yeah. There's a few comments just come in as well that I'm gonna post. So Caroline says energy can't be destroyed, it just changes forms. We are spirit. And Jamie said, Orshee, I get this story. We share this experience. Enlightenment happens going into and coming out of illness.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess, it's only when you are faced or actually living with situations that are life-changing, literally can be life-changing, do you really get to experience the rawness of that, the reality of that.
Yeah, I mean, I now I can think about it as I was breaking down like the tower, because the foundation wasn't right. And I'm a Taurus. I have a moon, Taurus moon. So I'm very stubborn. And I think life was like, okay, you're not learning the way that we want you to learn. So boom, they're gonna get a live lesson. So yeah, I bet. I mean, I had a few tower years already.
Yeah.
And and to that energy comment, I just wanted to say that for me, a sort of confirmation that there is more to life than just our 3D experiences when I saw someone die, because the difference between when someone is living and when they are not there, the soul, the spirit is just so huge. That from then on, I was like, even though I don't want to die, I still want to become a vampire. Just saying. I need those extra years. But I do believe that we're changing, we're transforming into something else, and I'm hoping that at least multiple lives. But yeah, vampire.
Yay for the vampire. Yeah, there is, and I've been in situations similar to that, or I've been to a chapel of rest to see family members and stuff like that. And when you are looking at their body, devoid of that energy, it literally is. You look at that body, and there's something.
And it's not someone that they are not there anymore.
That exactly, everything has gone. The personality, but they don't even look like they're sleeping. You can just see this stillness of this
exactly shell. When books describe it as I was entering the room and they look like they're just peacefully sleeping, and I'm like, you clearly haven't encountered this, because nobody looks like they are just sleeping when they are. I'm sorry, but they don't. So
no, but it also, for me, it's quite what's the word? I don't want to say closure, because that's not what I'm going, but it kind of gives me that validation, if you like, of they're not there, it's clear.
You can be a bit more hopeful, and
yes, so they are somewhere because they're not here,
exactly.
Yeah, so
but they didn't end with the body. They are somewhere there because they are not there anymore. So yeah, exactly. I mean, I have that too.
Yeah, and it's the analogy of the glove, isn't it? If a hand is wearing a glove and they're talking, or you imagine our queen who does this through a glove, there's life, there's movement and everything. But the moment that body comes off and the spirit goes, you look at a glove, it's just lifeless.
Exactly. It's just empty. You can see that it's empty.
Yeah. So with everything that you've been through then, Orshee, and I know you said I don't believe in like a God of the Bible, and I hear you clearly on that. Do you label yourself by any sort of spiritual term, or do you follow any particular spiritual path or religion now?
I looked into a lot, but there was always something that was a make it or break it point for me. So I don't follow anything other people came up with, but I mix things. So I don't know if there's such a thing as mixed spirituality, but I'm kind of there. Even though you say that if you say that you're spiritual, a lot of people just look at you like, oh, you're one of those. But I mean, how I define spiritual is empathetic, understanding, open-minded, caring, and kind. If that's a bad thing, then I'm that bad thing. So
yeah, no, that's a fantastic way to look at it. It's the qualities of that, isn't it? And that's why I don't kind of judge anyone for their religious beliefs, because there are commonalities through all of the religions or spiritual paths, and as long as they are those qualities that you mentioned, which is about self-service, compassion for others, giving of yourself, and building people up and contributing to communities, then they get my vote, whatever it is, But when it comes to destroying or bringing people down or trying to control or manipulate, that's kind of when I have an issue. I love Chris. Chris's have you seen it?
I'm completely fine with Chris's option. But yeah, with religion, I don't, want to go and flat out say that religion is bad, because I can see that in some people's life that it gives them what it should give: community support and understanding and help and all those good things. And I always get a bit, I don't know, salty when people are quoting Bibles and using that in the name of, in the name of Jesus, I'm going to hate you. And I was like, do you know what he was about, what he was trying to do? And by the way, because maybe you should look into what he would think of you when he would be, around us. So there are a lot of good things. And I have, there's a UK channel. Oh God, I only watch their second channel, Jolly, and they often have Reverend Chris on their show. And I completely, love how he approaches things. And he's a Catholic priest, so he has his guidelines that he can operate in, but he can still find ways to share positivity and understanding and acceptance. And if we would all do that.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, Orshee, where it gets a bad press is when it comes down to that key word of interpretation. People, you can meet so many different people who claim to follow the same path, but will have completely different interpretations of what that path means for them, and that's where it gets a little bit muddy. It's about, so that's why you just have to kind of take people by their fruits. What is it that they're doing and contributing. So you're in Hungary, as you said. Yes. How is life there when it comes to you being able to be a tarot enthusiast, tarot reader, follow an alternative spiritual path? I mean, you talked about courses that you was able to do. How is it viewed? Because again, I'm just looking at what my limited knowledge is and things that I hear in the news and stuff like that. And I know in recent months there's been some quite conservative laws and changes coming about, isn't there? So what's life like for you there as somebody on this path?
Well, I mean, I took the course, but it was because I knew through my sister someone who was referring me to that course leader. So it's not an open thing. And there are open courses, and tarot is not punishable by law or anything like that. Just unfortunately, and I was talking about someone else who's Hungarian about this. Hungarian readers tends to read more in the gypsy fortune telling way. It's always about your I don't know, mother-in-law is going to do this and this, and those interpretations are mostly read into the cards. And I don't do that, and I don't like to do that. So I haven't found a spiritual community in Hungary, I think, because of that. Yeah. But I mean, nobody knows where I live that I do tarot. And it's funny because I used to work at the library, and I have a friend, and now I have two people who worked there, and we have our little 3 members convent basically here. And I don't even remember how we started talking about, I mean, with my first friend, because she's more into the widget side of things and I'm more into the tarot, but we were not talking about it openly, and we still don't talk about it openly anywhere, even though I would like to, but I know that there's a negative connotation to it, so people would judge me like, oh, she's crazy, she was sick, she went, she has a problem now. So it's kind of weird. And what you mentioned is not new. The currently ruling party is in power for more than 10 years now, so unfortunately all the shitty things that are right now so obvious are started happening 10 years ago. So And there are no laws that prevents anybody to get a hold of power for multiple times. So
Right. So they
yeah,
could literally stay in power
yeah.
for as long as they.
They
So
changed the election vote in a way that it's good for them. So stuff like that.
right, yeah, manipulating
Thanks.
it. So I was just going to go back to something then that you touched upon. So it sounds like it's not necessarily when it comes to spiritual practices and stuff like the tarot, it's not necessarily laws, but it's more about people's attitudes. It's more the social kind of.
Yeah, because there are a few shops who sell Los Scarabeo tarot decks, mostly because they can be imported in easily from Italy. But so you can find tarot decks and oracle decks even translated to Hungarian. But it's kind of like that, oh, they are the woo-woo kind of people who do this,
Yeah.
which is weird because there are a big spiritual festivals even. So I don't really understand why, but I think it's because the government also pushes very hardly against natural medicine. I'm not sure if it's forbidden by law now, but you can't use homeopathic treatments anymore because they decided that that was the worst thing ever, even though it had me a lot when I was sick. So
yeah, I think over here it has to be labeled as complementary.
oh yeah, that too.
That's the way we can get around it here. It's the same as when I did my website legally now, because it's regulated, I have to put on there that this is for entertainment purposes. So if
I have that too everywhere, just in case.
Yeah, just because, and in some parts, when you've got a website, it's global, but even here, it has to be, labeled as entertainment only. So that's kind of. So I think tarot still is very much, under the counter.
Yeah,
We can go into shops, but those shops are very few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any metaphysical shops here, just a few in Budapest where I don't go these days. So
yeah, but it's getting better. Over here in particular, it is becoming more mainstream.
which is cool.
Scott says, Simon, have you been to Hungary? I haven't. And Orshee, have you been to the UK?
Yes, I've been. I mean, I visited my sister in Scotland, which was really cool, and I want to go back because I felt so at home. And I say this often, so I'm sorry if anybody heard that, but I never felt the connection to actual land. Not necessarily the place or the people, but the land itself. So that was very curious, and I want to go back to explore it more, to see that if that's there. And then I was in Manchester visiting my friend who lives there, and that was kind of interesting because it's a big industrial city. And what I love about in UK shows is the countryside.
Oh yeah.
And there's such a huge difference that I was like, I want to go back to Scotland. I want to go back to nature.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Manchester, I mean there's the docks and the whole sort of industry side of it, like you say.
Yeah.
But for me here in Nottingham, we have to drive through the Pennines or catch a train through the Pennines to get to Manchester, and it is one of the most beautiful journeys. Through Snake Pass, you see the rolling hills, the countryside. So it's a shame because Manchester actually is surrounded by beautiful countryside. So you would have been right in the city part.
We took. I have because my friend was working and her boyfriend was stuck with me for a few hours, and so we were like, "What should we do?" So we went and drove out to the countryside. So we were there for I don't know, like half an hour. We saw sheep and just the open fields and everything, and I was like, this is it. That's why I'm here. But then we had to go back to the industrial big city. And I'm such a small city person that I appreciate people who like to, you know, be in an area or in an environment like that, but it's just so not me.
Yeah. No, Manchester is one of our largest
Yeah.
cities in the UK, and Birmingham is another, which isn't far from here. I mean, I'm quite fortunate because Nottingham is a small city, and from my window I can see the city limits. You know, it's very contained. But if you come again, then the Derbyshire Peak District, which is 40 minutes from here, the Derbyshire Peak District is beautiful. They film lots of those programs that you see on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like Peak Practice.
All my crime shows.
Yeah. And of course, down southeast where we went to Glastonbury, beautiful countryside, and that's where you get things like Midsummer Murders and all that.
I mean, I love Midsummer Murders. I mean, they kill a lot of people in them, but yeah, I hope, fingers crossed, I'm planning on going to Glastonbury next year. I know you're not gonna be there, which is kind of sucks, but I hopefully it's not gonna be my first and last time, but you know, just the first. So, and I want to visit my friend in Manchester again, but you know, currently we can't just go for a weekend because that would be what I can afford to take time out of work. But you know, with all the quarantine and whatnot, I just can't do that.
Yeah.
But I will keep that in mind, and you know, I will suggest them to visit or do something like that in that area.
Yeah, I am aiming to. I'm already missing it, and I've only been back 2 weeks. But I am aiming to go the year after. I definitely want to go 2023. But if I don't make the determination to go to New York next year, it won't happen.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm saving up for a US trip as well, but my big plan was to go in 2020. So yeah, I don't know when will that happen actually, because there's just so many regulation and who knows. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm saying all this, we just don't know what's going to happen next year, you know.
yeah,
But we will see.
fingers crossed.
Yes, hopefully. So let's go back to talking a little bit about tarot then. So are you a professional tarot reader? Do you read for other people?
Yes, I do.
You do?
And anybody can find me for reading over in Instagram, or I have a Google form set up. So if you have a more complex question, you can find me.
Yeah, lovely. And do you have a website or anything you want to promote so that people can, or how's the best place?
My Linktree link is in every description of my every video. So if you just check the latest one, you can find the ways to get in touch with me, because I think that's the easiest, you know, to link everything at one place.
Yeah. And Tammy Pie wants to know where you would go in the US. Anywhere in particular you want to go?
Well, of course, I'm a huge New England Patriots fan, and I'm planning on going to a game. Well, before Tom Brady, you know, left and all that, and before my favorite player decided to retire, so I'm not in that hurry anymore. But yeah, to Boston and Foxborough and New England is first.
Oh, wow, that sounds fab.
But I would like to go a lot of places like Hawaii. I need to go there as well.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of, and Colorado as well is beautiful. So, but you know, money. So
that's it. That will always get you. So what does your tarot collection look like in terms of size or genre or system?
I mean, I posted a video today where I was just like a quick one when I rearranged my spiritual space and my working space, and I went over my collection. It's not bad, I think. I mean, I've slowed down with buying decks because I have to start saving up for the trips again, so I can't just, you know, buy decks instead. And currently, and I think I'm going to keep that system, but I might not necessarily work with it as in put the seasonal decks out and just work with them. But currently I do that I have seasonal piles, and I sort all my decks into them.
Oh, wow.
That's how, because all my decks pretty much, when I look at them, I can associate them to one season. So far.
Yeah. And do you find that you pull the same ones out for every? So, for instance, autumnal decks. Do you pull the same ones out every autumn, or do you tend to switch
I
it around?
mean, I only read for like or have a lot of decks for like a year and a half. So there was only one autumn before, and I didn't have the system. I just started it with this spring. So, but like I said, when I went through my autumnal decks, my problem is that I have the Ogesh and Thorn, and I don't want to use anything else when I have the Ogesh and Thorn. So it's actually really hard to be like, okay, today I'm going to use something else, because I have other lovely decks, but the Ogesh and Thorn is special.
So, would you say that's your soul deck?
Yes, and I kind of say that it's a placeholder for the soul deck, because the what's the name? Oak, ash, and thorn. That is smoke, ash, and amber. I think that's yeah. I'm trying to remember, because for some reason I can't. Yeah, I had a hard time learning the oak, ash, and thorn as well. I don't know why. I love the deck, but that's gonna be the dragon deck. And I saw the previews, and I'm just so excited, because Adam illustrates those dragons in a way that I look at them and I think how they look. So I think that's going to be my forever soul deck, but the Ogesh and Thorn is a very, very close second.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect for you, isn't it? If Okash and Thorn is having such an impact on you, where you don't want to give it up and read other decks, and then knowing that the Smoke, Ash, and Ember is coming out towards the end of the year, and your love of dragons and how you connect with dragons, it's perfect. Stephanie was in here earlier. I don't know if she still is, but I was saying to you just before we went on, wasn't we, that you know, I got to spend time with her in Glastonbury and seen some of the images, and it's just, it looks like it's going to be such a beautiful deck. So I'm really excited.
When I saw the possibilities card from the previous deck, I was like, oh, a dragon! But I wasn't even, thinking about that there might be a deck coming from those dragons. So I was just so happy when she announced it. I mean, yeah, and I mean, I have a hard time holding just one deck. So just can you imagine? Like, let's shuffle, and then like the mixology, like making a cocktail. That's how I'm gonna shuffle my cards.
So, do you read with all three systems? And I say three. I know there are more than three, really. But in terms of RWS, Marseille, and Thoth, or do you kind of just stick to one
Not
system?
yet. I wasn't interested in Thoth, because when at first I was interested in it for a second, and then I looked into it and I wasn't anymore. And then came Taroton, and now I want to learn Thoth as well. So, but I already bought a Marseille deck, because I started reading the book, which I stopped because I started doing 100 other things. But at some point, at first, I want to learn Marseille, but right now I'm starting a Lenormand. So ask me 10 years from now. I'm probably going to say maybe two. Let's be optimistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, currently I'm reading in the RWS system.
Yeah, cool. And a question that I don't always ask it, but it's coming to my mind. It's not one that I kind of have written down or anything, but I often get asked this question. So I always like to kind of hear what other people's views are of it. In terms of how the tarot works, any thoughts? Or maybe I should rephrase that as, how do you use the tarot? Do you use it as a divinatory tool, or do you use it for self-reflection and introspection? But how do you see it working?
Chris had a lovely tag recently, Elemental Cartomancy. He has a How Tarot Works tag, and he asked those questions. And I explained it in a way that I use tarot and the tarot reading as a conversation. Now that if I'm conversing with my higher self or someone, higher above me, separate from me, it doesn't matter, because I am having this conversation with something or someone that knows more than me. So it can be divinatory in a way that I'm getting advices out of it. I'm getting concrete things that, hey, you should consider doing this and that. So, but I think the self-reflection part has to be always in there as well, because if you're not changing yourself, then you're not going to be able to really achieve anything new. At least that's my experience in life so far.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because yeah, Chris did. And I remember saying to him at the time, I'm going to really struggle to do a VR to this. And I'd rather just have a kind of like a discussion about it, because I just feel there's this sort of, not a contradiction, but, you know, I've always said, and again, the writing on my website talks about it, you know, for me, it's a mirror that has 78 kind of different aspects of life and all those archetypes and everything that we can connect with on a very deep soul level. And they can provide guidance, and I've never really seen it from the fortune telling side as such. However, I do read ahead. So, yeah, you know, I kind of think, right, what's coming up? But then I come back to, well, maybe that's given me options, because the future doesn't exist. Exactly. Hasn't happened. It's not been written. And every thought and action changes the future possibilities. Yeah. Everything we do, every decision we make, that's why the future, you know.
That's why I don't like to put time frame on my readings, because if you're doing the work that the card told you to do, things will change and things will start happening. But if you don't, if you just sit there and you're like, oh, my tarot reading said that I'm gonna do this and that, but you're not doing the middle part that I told you that you need to work on this, because my favorite 3-card spread is, what's the root of the problem, where are you currently, and what you can do, and what's the tendency. And that tendency comes into play if you do the work.
Yeah.
But while doing that work, you might go into a completely different, you know, route, because you do something different. Or if you don't do the work, then it's not going to happen because you didn't.
Yeah. But I guess the bit where I always struggle with is when I kind of do a reading and I'll see something like a tower coming up, and then it happens, and I'm like, my goodness, that was exactly as my reading, you know, predicted.
Yeah.
But what it's then allowed me to do is prepare for that tower moment. So when that tower moment comes, it has less impact than what it might have done had I not prepared for it. But I still don't know, you know. But then I think, when I don't know really why, when I switch a light switch on, how the bulb has come to,
yeah,
you know, flood the room with light.
Yeah.
There's a reason, and an electrician will be able to tell you. But I still have faith when I click that switch, the room is going to be flooded with light. So
yeah.
I just kind of take it at face value. It's a tool. It's a spiritual tool. I believe that there are higher powers, you know, that are at play, whether that's our ancestors or spirit guides or God or whatever. I believe that there is more than what meets our kind of physical senses.
Yeah.
So in that I trust, I suppose. But thank you for sharing your views on it.
I mean, for me, it helps that how I look at life is that for me, it works that we're all part of something bigger, you know, an entity that doesn't have a 3D form. And when we, you know, born on Earth, we come here to experience things. And how I look at things, that we set a sort of path for ourselves before, you know, getting born. But those are just the big things that we have to experience in our lifetime, like just dots on a long path. But how we reach into those dots, it's completely up to us. But I do think that we have certain things that we came here to experience, and we're going to experience them whether we want them or not. So it can be a death card or a tower, depending on, are you going with the change and you're changing, or you're refusing, and then life gonna just put you back in the right order.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it, and in that sense, it works for me.
Yeah,
you know, predicting things.
Like I've said many times, you know, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and that's where the tarot, for me anyway, can certainly help. What's currently at the top of your wish list?
So I'm gonna go with the deck that I don't have a budget for. So that's an actual real. And it's a weird one in a way that at first I didn't want to get it because I felt like it was violent and the High Priestess wasn't something that I would necessarily like. And it's I forgot, the Lost Hollow. I think that's the name. Pixel Occult is the creator.
The Lost Hollow.
Lost Hollow. It's a black, white, and red deck.
Oh, the Slow Hollow.
Which one?
The Slow Hollow?
No, I don't think
so. That's black, white, and red. That's,
I'm gonna Google it because I thought that I knew the name, but obviously I didn't. Yeah, Lost Hollow Tarot by Pixel Occult.
Oh, okay.
You don't know that then?
I'm not familiar with it. No.
Oh, okay. I have a friend on Instagram who keeps posting, with it, and I'm always like, okay. And the artist is working on redesigning a bit the deck currently, so I'm quite excited. I'm gonna show you the Hermit if I can. I mean, I don't know if we'll be able to see anything because I don't know if you guys can see.
Oh wow, I have seen these images.
Yeah, it's not focusing, but
yeah, I have.
It's reflecting back. So I see these cards often on Instagram, and I'm like, damn, I want this deck. So yeah, it's on the top of my
top of your wish list, is it? So do you have any when it comes to buying decks, do you have any kind of deal breakers like card stock or card size or anything like that?
Well, I'm a bit iffy about Llewellyn decks because I mean I'm not a snob, I swear, but it's just I don't understand that a company who puts so much effort into packaging, how can they make so bad cardstock when it's something that you're supposed to use? It's not something that you're supposed to just put somewhere and look at it. So yeah, even though I buy Llewellyn decks because the Mermaid Tarot is one of my favorites and I really like it, but I don't like the cardstock. But usually it's the High Priestess, so I have to be on board with the High Priestess in some way.
So you check the High Priestess out first.
Yeah, I always check her.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on Llewellyn. And I can remember the exact moment, where it went from the big tuck boxes with the black and white books to beautiful, hard, magnetic closure boxes with glossy color books. But the compromise was the cardstock.
Yeah,
a Wonderland Tarot, and it was just, I thought, I can't use this. It was
I have to be, even I have to be extra careful with them, and I'm not hard on my deck, so.
Yeah, but they just, and I was like, oh, because I brought it from Glastonbury, the Archeo deck. And
the Gerald.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's Llewellyn. But the cardstock is fantastic in this, and it's magnetic closure.
So they can do it.
They can do it. And the cards are bigger. So, if they're worth it, they'll be even worse. But they're not. They're great. And I'm like, maybe, because this is 2021, maybe they've, because they publishers do listen. They do listen.
I mean, Chris said that he likes the cardstock of the Raven's Prophecy Tarot, and I don't. I think it's still the same crappy, thin version. I don't like it. So maybe a lot more people like it, but I think they kind of go with the let's just sell as much as we can because it looks pretty on the shelf of the store, and they don't care about people who will actually use it, which I kind of think it's sad.
See, I got the Tarot of the Hidden Realms. By the time I learned about it, I got the nice box and book, but the cardstock was shocking. And then I was gifted a box of unwanted decks, and in it was the original Hidden Realms. So I was able to swap. So I've got like the ultimate. It's got the box.
I want to get that deck, but that's what keeps me away from it because I really want a Fae deck, and that seems to be the perfect Fey deck. But I keep hearing that there's some old version that I might go down, and try to find an original one, because I just I don't understand. Yeah, exactly. They can do it. So.
But just going back, and I'm going to post something over the next couple of days in the Hermit's Cave. I review some decks for Red Feather, which is the Mind, Body, Spirit arm of Schiffer. And they are starting a kind of like, they're calling it the Wisdom Circle. But they want people and communities, they want to be able to sound them out about things. So we're looking at producing this deck. What would you want to see in this deck? And they want to know everything. And the first thing they're doing is an education series. And it's just been sent to us. And I'm going to share. And I've said, can I share this, in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group? Because then we'll get a lot of feedback wrong. It's mine. And they were like, yes, please do. Awesome. And it really shows you that publishers actually listen, or at least here's an example of one publisher doing it, where they want to listen to the community. They want the feedback on diversity and representation, as well as the aesthetics, So, and they are somebody, who changed from going very glossy, like Marielle first edition cardstock, to nice matte cardstock like Shadowlands Tarot. So
they did the Shadowland. I have that. It's a good cardstock. I like that one.
Yeah. So
I hated the gilding because I don't understand gold gilding. Why is it still necessary? I trimmed it. I spied it away, and mine is edged in black currently. But
yeah, but it's nice when the US Games is another example. They've started to remove their copyright from the front cards. So we've got the power.
But isn't that, what I mean? If they find those people like you who has not influenced in a bad way, but you can share decks with other people, and if they actually listen to what we as a community want, they could get bigger sales, because now people are hesitant to buy Llewellyn decks because the cardstock is just crap. So I don't think that's a good marketing step.
No, absolutely not.
But I'm not a big company, so what do I know?
So I just want to talk to you a little bit before we move on to the kind of the last section, a little bit about books. What's your favorite tarot book, and then what's your favorite all-time book that's non-tarot?
Oh, how much time do you have? No. I hate picking favorites, even though with the non-tarot, I always say Harry Potter because that's the easiest. But I have I have close contenders now, because I have the Raven's cycle, the Raven King cycle. I think the books that was written by the same person who did the Raven's Prophecy.
Yeah.
Deck. I love those, and then I read I have my books over there. Forgot the trilogy name, but the Cruel Prince is the first one. I think it's the Folk of Air trilogy, which was a Fae series, and I think that was just written so well. So those are, and The Dark Tower by Stephen King. I think that's just brilliant. And when I discovered it, I was just so mad that nobody told me that Stephen King was writing dark fantasy as well, because I was just like, okay, he's the horror writer, but no, he's much more than that. So that's a favorite. As of tarot, I like guidebooks because I haven't really had the time to read tarot books. But I'm going through the Llewellyn guidebook currently, and that's a really good one. I love how it's set up, how the story is there. So with tarot, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, no, that's a good guidebook. So what would you say the tarot has taught you most about yourself?
Wow, that's an interesting one. I think that I have a way to help other people, because I was always struggling with the idea of doing that type of work that my family, I have family members who do that, when you're connecting with someone in a emotional level, not because I don't have emotions, but I'm not good at, comforting people. I'm much better at, hey, here's an advice that you can use. And I didn't know how to do that. I wanted to go and study psychology when I was younger, but then when I was recovering, I didn't think about it anymore, so I didn't do that. But and I'm not saying that anything that I do is in that level, obviously, but I think it taught me that yes, my advices are actually really good, which I kind of always thought, but just to myself secretly, because if you say something good about yourself, then that's bragging, which is not. It
No,
should be okay to say that I'm good at something, and I think I give good advices because maybe it's because I'm an Aquarius, but I can see a situation from multiple point of views easily. So I can be, I can be objective about, and that's what I like about tarot readings. That, I mean, it might sound cruel or mean or whatever, but I don't give a fuck what the cards are trying to say to you. So I'm not emotionally attached to the reading, and I think that's a good quality. So
that is a good quality, yeah. Because it depends as well. I find it easier to detach more if I'm doing online readings.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm face to face with somebody, I do find myself being kind of sucked in more. But that is a good quality when you can detach like that. Question from Richie: what's the story behind James the Skull? What's this James the Skull?
I started doing shorts on YouTube, just daily one card pulls, and I was thinking about how to frame them. And I have a skull. I'm going to show you, which I bought last year.
Wow.
It's a flowery one. And I was, I was thinking about what to name it, because there can be a skull without a name. And James was always one of my or maybe my most, favorite names ever. I mean, not Hungarian. I don't think I have a favorite Hungarian name anymore. And I kind of like that James can be anything, female, male, whatever. It's a non-descriptive in a way name, and I always had a connection with the name, and I never knew why. And then when I got the skull, and I was like, that's James. I was like, I know why. And so, yeah, James gives advices on on YouTube now. So if you're interested and you want to hear an advice from James, you should subscribe.
Yeah. Maybe he might get really big and break away and start his own channel.
I mean, Stephanie said that, he looks like he has a good sense of humor, and I think so too. Who knows? James might get sassy. I can't, I have to, type the advice for him, but at some point,
it might sound random, but is James a candle? Because I've got a big one like that.
No. It's I don't know, because it's quite light, but they make those statues.
Yeah.
This white
okay.
plastery thing. So it's like, and I introduced my nephew to the skull, and I was kind of worried that he's gonna get frightened because it's huge black eyes, but he was like, okay. I'm like,
oh, I see. I see James becoming a bit of an entity.
I know, right?
I think you need to that. Might start stealing the limelight from you.
I don't mind.
So, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self if you could go back? I know from what you were saying earlier, from the age of 16 onwards, you've been through quite a lot in your life. So what advice would you be able to would you give if you was able to go back?
Well, I thought about this a lot. If I would go back and tell anything what's gonna happen about my younger self, but I don't think I would, because then who the hell knows what I would end up being. So I wouldn't spoil the fun that was coming. But I would just tell myself, and I know I wouldn't believe myself because I would be 16 and know everything better, that what you think, because how I usually explain that I don't think I actually had a personality before I was sick, because I was just trying to find myself in other people, because I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what I wanted, what I liked. I was that person. And I would just say to myself that it's gonna get better. Maybe that's just one line.
Yeah.
Because I can't say that, hey, you're gonna think you're gonna die. That's not something that you want to scare yourself with. And I wouldn't tell myself that I'm gonna survive either, because I think, because I went through and if you don't mind me saying, there was a point when I was 100% sure that I'm not gonna live longer than 25. That was a fact. It wasn't a question. It was just a question of how long I can just drag on. Oh, drag on. And then and then things changed, and then suddenly I was like, oh wait, I'm gonna actually survive and live a life. Now what? And that was an interesting conversation that kind of took 10 plus years to figure out what to do when you're suddenly alive and you survive something. Because when you think you're not gonna live past a certain age, you don't have to make plans. You
That's what
don't
you
have
said.
to
Yeah.
think about the future, because you don't have one. But when you suddenly have one, but you have things that you carry, like the Six of Swords, it's not that easy just to be and go like, oh, I can, do whatever I want now, because it's not true. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting deep here. Sorry.
No, it's fascinating. And, the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, when you actually got to that age, having made no plans, that must have felt quite liberating and freeing. But then you went on to say, and it took me like 10 years to figure out, well, what am I going to do now? Now that I have gone past 25. So I guess that what that affords you is that blank page, that blank canvas on which to create a life that you might want, or things that you might want to explore, knowing you haven't got that limited time period.
I mean, I thought so too, but what nobody talks about in books when something like this happens is that how I explained it for a long time, that I felt like my life went out of sync with everyone else's. And now that it was coming back, I still had a lot that I missed. So I had no work experience. I had no any experience, because I spent all my life pretty much in hospitals or in my own home. But I had a lot of experiences that other people at that age didn't, because I went through all that. So in some aspect, I was very wise about how life works and what is actually important in life. But you still have to get a job and stuff, mundane things like that, which I didn't know how to do. And I still can't just go and took any job that I want, because my body doesn't able to handle too much
Yeah.
at once. So I have limitations. So I had to learn how to live with them as well.
Yeah. It's about adjusting to that, isn't it? And yeah, it must be a really sort of a difficult balance, because there's so much you'd want to do, but at the same time you've got to weigh it up with what's actually physically possible, practical.
Plus, and what's important in life. So I mean, I can't be someone who will willingly do a 9 to 5 and just waste their life away with something that they don't care about, because I know that's not how you're supposed to live your life. You're supposed to be enjoying it. And humanity is doing everything they can right now to not do that, which is just mind-blowing.
Yeah. Well, on a personal level, I'm glad you're here at nearly 40.
Thank you.
So that we can get to
I'm
know
glad you still think so.
Okay, the dinner party question then. So 3 guests, 1 guest of honor, and 2 other guests. Who would you, dead or alive, who would you invite?
Oh God, that's a hard one, because I think I would maybe invite Russell Brand, because he he did such a big change with his life. He was that party alcoholic, whatever. I really disliked his persona, but he went into the spiritual route, and I like how he talk about things.
Yeah, he's a good one.
But I would invite people from the future.
Oh,
I want to get to know, I'm not what to expect, but how do they think about things? So yeah, people from the future.
that's a really cool response. Nobody's ever said that, and I've never even thought about it. We talk about dead or alive, but we haven't really thought about people who might not have even existed yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isn't that much more interesting?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to know the future.
I mean, I want to live on a spaceship, so I want to know if there's a job for me, job opening.
And of course, our Tanji, hello Tanji, by the way, always likes to know this question.
Yeah, no.
If you could be any mythical creature, what would you be and why?
A vampire.
A vampire.
Because I don't want to get sick and I don't want to die. So I think it's understandable why after what I said. But yeah, those, I want to be strong. I want to be beautiful. I want to live forever and have time to read.
Yeah. But are vampires mythical?
I think so. I mean, if anybody knows one personally, please get in touch.
You're
and then I'm going to pick another one. Oh, awesome.
So, well, I can't believe how quickly these interviews go. Whenever I do them, they fly by. I know I say it every time, but are you ready to play paper plastic?
Yes.
Cool.
But what about the shadowscapes? I want to know now too.
The shadowscapes?
You left a comment on.
Oh, why have I left that on? So
I don't know. I thought that was an important or interesting question, and now I want to know.
Debbie is in Barnes and Noble at the moment, listening in, and of course, being in Barnes and Noble, she's got an array of decks in front of her. So she's like, "What shall I buy?"
No, I see.
All right. So, first response then: paper or plastic?
Paper.
Oracle or tarot?
Tarot.
YouTube or Instagram?
YouTube.
Peanut butter or jam?
Neither.
Neither. Big parties or small gatherings?
Small gatherings and sometimes big parties.
Wait or Crowley?
Wait.
Bath or shower?
Bath.
Bordered or borderless?
Borderless.
Dark and creepy or rainbows and unicorns?
Dark and creepy.
Indie or mass?
Mass, because mass. Easier to get.
Very. Tablet or PC?
PC.
Save or spend?
Spend.
Money or free time?
Free time.
Movies at home or in the cinema?
Cinema.
Large or small cards?
Small.
Phone calls or FaceTime?
FaceTime.
Life after death or total extinction?
Life after death.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Woodland forest or sandy beaches?
Both.
Toilet roll hanging over or under?
Over, and can I ask something quickly? If it's under, don't you ever had the problem when you hit your fingers into the wall? Because that's why we usually have it over, because we just smash our fingers into the wall.
No, there's a gap.
Yeah, there's a gap, but sometimes it's not big enough, and you just, you don't pay attention or whatever, and you hit your nails.
You come at it like this.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, but if you're too quick, you can hit your fingers. I want to know about the chat things because it happened to me.
I think I saw a question as well that I don't want to miss. It was by Forever Whereafter. I've got it on my but I can't see it on here, so I'm not quite sure why it's not showing. So I'll read it out anyway. Does Orshee have or like any sci-fi themed decks?
Orsi is currently in the search for getting one because I did a hashtag response to Nancy Paper Moon Tarot. I think that's her channel name. Tarot at the movies, and I realized that I don't have a good sci-fi deck yet. So I'm getting the Neon Tarot by Pixie Occult that was sent to me from a friend. So soon I will get that, and that's supposed to be a sci-fi deck. But if anybody wants to, suggest me sci-fi decks, I'm open.
Yay! There is one that Will from Atypical Tarot uses a lot.
Oh, there's the 28, the mixed one, isn't it? The Astral.
I think it's something like the Science Tarot or something like that, or
yeah, I think I look those into, but I'm quite picky.
Are you?
I love sci-fi, so it has to be my kind of sci-fi. So I don't think there's a deck. So maybe I will make one at some point.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna pull a card, but while I'm shuffling, do you want to share with us a tarot deck that is kind of your current crush?
Yeah, so not the Oakish and Thorn, because everybody knows about that one. But I had the privilege and just luck and everything, and Jen's help to get the Majestic Earth. And even though this is a big one, as you can see, it's huge. And I removed the gold gilding because who needs gold gilding? Not me. But this is just such a beautiful deck. I mean, I enjoy looking at paintings, even though I don't know anything about art in that sense that I can't analyze a picture or a painting. I don't see the brush strokes and whatever. But I just love it, and I was so happy that I had the chance to get one. And this was an interesting one because at first when I saw the walkthrough, when I started watching Tarot Tube, I was like, nah, I could never read with that. What are those paintings as tarot? What is that? So I didn't get it while it was available. And then, of course, a few months went by, and I was like, but I want that deck. But it was not available, and then came a sudden option to get it. So I was just so happy because I love it.
Yeah, it always looks beautiful. I don't have it myself, but the artwork is stunning. For me to be able to get something from overseas now, I have a long list. But
that's the star, the Aurora. It's just beautiful. And when I do a reading with this, I always take at least a moment just to admire the cards on the table before I do the reading, because it's just beautiful.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. So we have the Three of Wands. So this is the visionary card, isn't it? And it's about taking a long view of something. But it's also about facing uncharted territory and being brave and going for it. Yes, we should plan, but when it comes to reflecting on those decisions, then it's about having that adventurous spirit. Uncharted territory, somebody has to cross it first. Somebody has to take that walk and make that journey where other people can follow. And it does take a certain amount of bravery. So if you're here in the chat and you're facing this sort of what might seem like a perilous journey ahead, then we just have to remember that if we follow new horizons and we're brave and we go forward, then that courage will pay off in dividends. We will be rewarded for having made that journey. But yeah, take a long view. There's no rush. Look out, see what's out there, see the best options for you to go before making those decisions. But once you know how to proceed, then don't let anything stand in your way from going out there. Flood your mind with positivity and positive thoughts about how you can do it, not about what obstacles may befall you.
And so before we say goodbye, I just randomly pulled the card from my occasion torn, you know, while we were doing, and guess what?
Wonderful.
Guess what? 3 of Wands. Yes.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. It's not cheating. I swear to God, I just pulled, you know, I mean, do you want more synchronicities? Because I have goosebumps.
Exactly. And you know what? That's like what we're saying earlier, you know, we can rationalize the tarot. We can,
yeah,
you know, and yeah, you know, it could just be a coincidence. Chances are it is. But also the tarot works and we don't always understand
exactly
how it works or why it works.
And we don't need to. We don't need to.
It's about putting our trust into it, isn't it? So Orshee, the last hour and a half has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on to the Hermit's Cave and for, you know, sitting in the hot seat. I hope now your nerves are a little bit better than how they were at the beginning. You didn't come across nervous at all. You're very natural and everybody's enjoyed it as well. Thank you to everybody in chat for your questions and your interactions. Thank you to the moderators for doing the amazing job that you do week in, week out. Anything you want to say, Orshee, before we wrap it up?
I just wanted to thank everybody who came by and was here. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to follow the chat because, as you can imagine, I either pay attention to Simon or you guys. But I just wanted to say that if I can just pimp a little thing, that I want to start a new series from October, which is going to be, hopefully, if you guys show up, Let's Craft a Spread series, where I want to go through cards, the major arcana first, and hopefully with those who show up at the live, we can throw into keywords about, you know, for example, the first one, the Fool, and then we come up with a spread together that we can use to practice what the Fool means. So I would like to start that next month, not September, but October. So hopefully you guys are going to come and join.
That'll be great because, you know, at the end of October, we go into a new year after Samhain. So new year, new projects, new courses, new ways of learning. So that sounds fab. So do please subscribe to Orsi's channel. If you look at the description below, there is a link that will take there. And Jackie has just popped it again into the chat. So thank you, Jackie. It's really, really good of you. I'll be back in the week. I've got a couple of videos to film. Next week will be a regular cuppa catch up in cards. May do a come and have a cuppa and invite people on. But yeah, have a fantastic week, everybody. And until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.